gems, welcome back to my channel. I am very excited for today's video. I saw it floating around on IG as you do, and I thought, you know what, let us delve a little bit deeper into this, because I'm an avid comments reader and the comments were pretty loud, so we're going to go through the comments as well as the video. Okay, and obviously shout out to MTR. Absolutely love his content, and the reason why I don't do much reactions to his channel is because it's just so jam-packed, full of gems that I can't find anywhere to slot myself. But you know, if I do come across some of his videos that I can add some value to, then I will add it as well, like this one. So yeah, let me pop it onto the screen. Yes, I'm sure you've seen it, but yes, let us go.
You don't want this woman doing certain things or dressing certain ways. And every time we go out and dressing really overly sexy, we're putting our man's life in danger. Because if somebody say to us out of order, say something to us out of order or wrong, then his man will say he got to step up and defend us over nothing, over some foolishness. And if you got a man and you satisfied and happy with him, then why are you going out trying to entice new men? And the more clothes a woman take off, the more desperate she is. That don't mean she bold and brave and want to give to somebody. That means she's desperate, and that's a cry. Please give me some attention. Please look at me. Say something. Do something. That's what that is. And that's the condition of many of us. That's not anything that's an insult. We're talking reality. We have got to deal with the reality of our lives so that we can make corrections. But making up all of this stuff, and you don't want this woman doing certain things.
I'm just going to repeat it again, and then we'll go into it like bit by bit, because she said quite a bit in there. Yeah, before we go into the comments. So let's just start that again.
In certain ways. And every time we go out and dressing really overly sexy, we're putting our man's life in danger. Because if somebody say to us out of order, say something to us out of order or wrong, then his man will say he got to step up and defend us.
Okay, so that's like two things. Why are Black women the least protected, as well as why do we have to appease to men, especially Black men? Why can't we just wear whatever we want and it not be because of a man? Okay, ladies, I want us to approach life understanding that it isn't black and white, and it's not this airy fairy thing where everyone is moral, everyone takes responsibilities for their actions. There are bad people in this world, okay? And every action or inaction from our side, whether we feel restricted or not, it has consequences, okay? It doesn't mean you deserve bad things to happen to you because you chose not to, let's say, wear appropriate clothing. However, I am saying that the world that we live in, there are bad people in this world. So you, as a woman, need to protect yourself as well. So I think when we hear things like this, all we're hearing is, no, teach men to control themselves. Okay, I'm sure a lot of us are trying to teach men to control themselves, but we still know that not all of them will control themselves, especially now that a lot of women are putting a lot of things on show. At first, most of these things will be a mystery, but now everything is on the show. And I'm not saying that means men shouldn't control themselves, okay? What I'm saying is whether they control themselves or they don't, you have a responsibility for yourself to protect yourself, because in this life, there are consequences, okay? If you want the freedom to do whatever you want without consequences, you have to understand that you cannot control what happens to you. And again, I know someone is screaming that even when I'm fully covered, someone is still going to look at me up and down. I can't speak on that because that's not the context here. The context here is for those who aren't dressing appropriately, okay? If you are dressed appropriately and you're still being looked up and down, then it falls under the camp where the men are not controlling themselves. And again, I'm not saying that means what happens to you, you deserve what happens to you. I'm not saying that. But I am saying as women, we do need to protect ourselves because not everyone is out there to protect us, okay? So if there are things that we can tweak in our lives, we need to do that rather than saying that no, men should do this and I want to remain exactly how I am. You can do that, but you have to understand that there are consequences, sadly, okay? And that's the reality.
Over nothing, over some foolishness. And if you got a man and you're satisfied and happy with him, then why are you going out trying to entice new men?
Okay, so if you've got a man, why are you going out to entice new men? Because you don't value the attention that you're getting from the one that you already have, okay? A lot of people have partners in their life, husbands in their lives, but their attention, their affection, their presence was probably never of value. Maybe the women settled for these men, they preferred the chase, but this man is a good man. I've said this several times on my channel where if you haven't healed from toxic relationships and automatically you think going into a healthy relationship will be the answer to all your woes, you are mistaken, because you may even find that the healthy relationship dynamic is very boring and mundane for you, and that's when you start to seek erraticness outside, because that is how your appetite has been set up. That's how you've been conditioned, and because you haven't addressed that appetite, just because you slapped on a healthy man does not mean that appetite has been addressed. So even when you do have a man, the man could be absolutely amazing to you, but because you have not addressed your appetite, his affection, his compliments, his everything will never be enough for you because you didn't value it in the first place. You want erraticness, you want chaos, you want dysfunction, because that is what has been normalized in your life growing up. And that is why these women do what they do, just so that they can get the outside one. They want to chase. They don't want you to just give it to them because they've never had that. They want to chase. They want to struggle in order to get, an ounce of compliment here, an ounce of attention here. That's kind of what fulfills them, even though it's dysfunctional, even though it's toxic, even though it's negative. Somehow, because that's their condition and it hasn't been addressed, it's familiar to them. So in a way, it's like, yeah, this is good for me, So that's why.
And the more clothes a woman take off, the more desperate she is. That don't mean she bold and brave and want to give her somebody. That means she's desperate, and that's a cry. Please give me some attention. Please look at me. Say something. Do something. That's what that is. And that's the condition of many of us. That's not anything that's an insult. We're talking reality. We have got to deal with the reality of our lives so that we can make corrections. But making up all of this stuff, and we don't want this woman doing certain with the reality of our lives. So we're talking reality. That's what that is. And that's the condition of many of us. That's not anything. She's desperate, and that's a cry. Please give me some attention. And the more clothes a woman take off, the more desperate she is. That don't mean she bold and brave.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite, conservative. I don't know, maybe it's because of the way I grew up, being a pastor's daughter, and then growing up to be comfortable not showing a lot of skin. So I'm used to that. When I can get easily distracted when I look at someone who is showing a whole load of flesh as a woman. Because even I don't know where to concentrate, let alone men. Should I be controlling myself? But the thing is, I always think to myself, so this person stood in front of the mirror and, or should I say, they looked in their wardrobe and this is the dress they decided to wear outside. You know, I don't think to myself, wow, they're super confident to be wearing that. I mean, that doesn't really cross my mind. It's more like, wow, this is some balls to be showing that, you know, to the public. But maybe that's empowerment. I don't know. There's just so much these days that's just, nothing is left to the imagination anymore. Like everything is out. But then women are also complaining that they're being objectified. And it's like, you can't have it all, ladies, because we don't live in a society, or we don't live in a world where everything is black and white. Things have consequences, you know. Men and women are wired differently. And I don't know how you wear these things and then you think to yourself, well, they need to control themselves. I don't know. So do we not have responsibility over anything? I don't see it as someone or a system trying to control me just because I wore something to cover myself, just so that I'm not getting weird attention that I'm not actually looking for. I think most of these women who dress like they do, and I'm not talking about, oh, it's hot out here, let me just wear whatever I want. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the ones who are fully exposing themselves, regardless of the weather. I think there's a cry. I agree with what is it Shahrazad Ali? Boy, her name is a mouthful. I do apologize. I love the ring to it though, but yeah, I would have to look at the name in order to say it properly, so I do apologize. But what I am saying is, I think deep down, they are craving something. If they have a man and they're dressing very scanty, they don't value that man's compliments, their attention. They don't value that man, period. Therefore, they need to get crumbs from, they have to chase it. They have to suffer to get the attention, because that's what, you know, they're used to, okay? And if they don't have a man and they're just dressing like haphazardly, you know, I think deep down, they don't love themselves. Because really and truly, if you loved yourself, why? I don't know. Why would you be showing? What happened to decency and, you know, just covering certain parts of your body? Oh God! Yeah, they used to call me grandma in uni, and yeah, I guess I'm a grandma. I'm cool with that. Because I know behind closed door, I ain't no grandma, and I'd rather have it that way. Okay, but yeah, let's get into the comments. I love comments. Okay, let's go.
Want to give us anything that's an insult? We're talking reality.
Okay.
All of the stuff, and
yep. So. Yeah, people were not happy in the comments. They were just not happy in the comments. And what is this thing about, you know, saying anything about Black women and then automatically it's like, oh, you hate us? Why? Why is that? I think we need to ask ourselves, ladies. I don't think there's anything wrong with someone saying, hey, cover up because there are bad people out there. I mean, when I have a daughter, I will tell her to take precautions, you know? Girl, bye, you know? Yep, they're going to skip this one. Where's Kevin when we need him, please? This is it. We don't talk about men and their lack of self-control. We are talking about them, you know, we're talking about it. But whilst we're talking about it, there are still men out there who are committing crimes. Is that because the women are dressed scantily? I'm not saying that, but I am saying that there are bad people in this world. So whatever you can do to protect yourself, I think you need to do that. You owe that to yourself. You know, that's not someone controlling you. You know, take it up with God. when we go to heaven, at least we won't have to deal with all of this. But whilst we're on this earth, we need to take precautions. That's how I see things. We can't just cry that I want to wear whatever I want. Then you have to be ready for the consequences. And I'm not saying it's because you deserve it. I am saying that the world that you live in, that is how it's set up. This is an old head mindset. A woman can go out walking around in a coat and a dude still say something out of pocket. Yep, because this is the world that we live in. Women can wear whatever, and men are going to say, women can't even go to the gym without men overstepping boundaries. Some men don't care. There was this comment, she's on her way out the door. I mean, and then someone was like, I'm not here wishing death on anyone. You are, and that's unhealthy. Just like your weight, but yet you're on here talking about somebody else. Oh, I love comments. Why is it always the woman's fault? It says, why is it always the woman's fault that men can't simply control themselves? If men could control themselves, then no one would have to defend women from other men. I mean, it's like the chicken or the egg. The chicken or the egg. Which one came first? It's like, focus on you. Focus on what you can control. I really despise it when we're talking about something and someone's like, no, I require that the other party also implement change in order for me to implement change, when both of those things aren't, what's that word? It's pretty late, so I can't figure out the word. I think both of those things can work in tandem. You can work on what you can do or should I say, your sphere of influence or the things that you're responsible for, that can still take place outside of the other person instilling their part of the, equation, and I think sometimes we need to step out of ourselves and just stop being babies and just think about it objectively and say, hey, okay, am I truly taking care of myself in this life? Okay. And, men, that's why some men choose not to protect us, because even when you do protect us, the mindset is, well, you should be doing that anyway, and I should be able to be free to do whatever I want. Well, then you have to also be open for other people to put themselves before you. Therefore, going into the whole notion of black women are the least protected. You have to understand you're putting yourself first, i.e. being able to wear whatever you want, do whatever you want, regardless of the consequences. So somebody's also putting their own life before your own and then going from there. But yeah, I think I will end it here. But this was nice. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know it was all over the place. I'm not here to advise anyone. I'm just sharing my thoughts and just getting the conversation going so that we can think outside of the box and start to look after ourselves as well, or ask ourselves why we do what we do sometimes. Okay? But yeah, until next time, take care and God bless. Bye-bye.